I'm going to explain as quick as possible how it's actually very easy to get ripped. People love to overcomplicate the process of getting in shape. The reality is it's really, really simple. And I think people overcomplicate it now because it's very easy to just say anything that you want online, and that sort of stuff goes really viral. The truth is, it is really, really simple. And I'm going to explain in today's video exactly how you can get in shape in 2026, whether it's a New Year's resolution or you just want to do it. Step 1, the basics. So I'm going to give you the actual actionable steps instead of theory. Okay, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do as soon as you click off this video to get the results. Number 1, calculate your maintenance calories. I will leave a link in the description to calculate your maintenance calories. Subtract 300. So I'm going to use an example. Let's say your maintenance is 2,500. Mine's is slightly higher, about 2,800. But let's just use an example of 2,500. I said we should subtract about 300 off this number. Now, depending on how much fat you want to lose and your time frame and how consistent that you think you'll be able to be, you can increase this calorie deficit or you can decrease it, depending on if you have like a 2-year goal or a 1-year goal or a 6-month goal. But I'm going to subtract 300 to be safe. So we should be consuming 2,200, or that should be our net calorie intake for the day. What we're going to do is we're going to split the burden. Okay, what this means is, of course, we need to be in that 300 calorie deficit. We're going to split the burden, so we're going to be minus 150 calories can be burnt, and the other 150 calories can be reduced from eating. So, therefore, we can consume 2,350 calories, and we can do activity to burn the extra 150 calories. The reason that we do this is because people may be used to eating 2,800, 2,900 calories well beyond their maintenance, and so rather than cutting all the way down to 2,000 or 2,100, we can be at this number which is slightly less difficult for the person. So we're at 2,350 instead of maybe 2,000 or 2,100, in this case 2,200 being the goal, and then we can just burn the extra 150. For these calories, we want to focus on whole foods. So I've given some examples here. This picture here does demonstrate it quite well, but yeah, so there's many examples here. We have whole grains, things like oats, brown rice. Proteins, we want to focus on things like fish, eggs are very important, lean beef, healthy fats like avocado and olive oil. But yeah, you can take a look at this picture and see like a lot of good examples. The main target that we want to focus on is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Okay, so this is the main focus. Everything else can be added on top of this. Remember, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. So let's say you're 200 pounds or whatever it may be. Multiply that by 4, and multiply that by 1 to get the amount of protein you should be consuming, and then times that by 4 to get the calories in that. And then everything can be built around that. And I have other videos where I break down exactly how much of each thing you should be consuming and how you should build up your diet, but this is a general thing that we want to focus on because everything can be built on top of this. Now, if you struggle with this step, and this step being, consuming a specific amount of calories and composing those calories of whole foods, and if you struggle with that whole process because you love processed stuff, then do a pantry clean out and try 1 week with just whole foods. Okay, you will never look back because the way that you function after that week is going to be way better than before, and you're going to notice that difference pretty quickly, and so you wouldn't really want to turn back to how you were before. And so I just recommend trying a week, and I always say 1 to 2 weeks, because after this point it becomes very easy to stick to it. Step number 2 is cardio, and this is really important. If you could do this and integrate it how I'll explain, it's really good. So it's pretty simple, there's nothing really much to say here. 10 to 13,000 steps per day is pretty much all you need in zone 2. Now, my results are pretty interesting, so I'm going to show you my results for the past 6 months. So let me get on the health app here, and this is my daily average. First of all, let me pull up my daily average steps for the past 6 months, which isn't super great, but my daily average steps for the last 6 months, I don't know if it's in there. I don't know if you can see that. The daily average is 6,616, and I promise it does say that there, it's just a bit hard to see. So I've been averaging about 6,600 steps a day. So I'm not completely at the 10,000 step range, but even with 6,600 steps per day on average for the last 6 months, if I go to my calorie burn over the last 6 months on average per day, it's 227. I don't know again if you, I don't think it's focusing properly, but 227 calories per day off of 6,000 steps. So technically, if we look at our goal in terms of how many calories that we need to burn, we said 150 calories that need to be actively burnt on top of eating 2,350 roughly. We don't need to even do 6,600 a day. You know, technically speaking, if we wanted to burn 150, I do the math on that, 150 over 227 multiplied by 6,600. Technically, you'd need to do 4,361 steps per day to burn the 150 calories. The reason I recommend 10 to 13,000 steps is because a lot of people fail this part. A lot of people fail the eating part. They go over. So what they'll do is they'll consume way more than 2,350, maybe because they're not tracking, or maybe because they find it difficult. Of course, over time you'll get better and better at this, but initially people may find it difficult to stick to this. And so the reason I recommend 10,000 to 13,000 steps a day is because, yes, we'll be burning potentially more than 150 calories per day. Maybe that'd be 350 or 400 calories per day, but then that kind of allows you to eat slightly more calories and still be in that ideal 300 calorie deficit. And if not, even if you are sticking to the exact numbers, then if anything, you'll lose that fat quicker because you're in a greater deficit for those days. And so I just recommend this range, but anywhere between 5 and 10,000 is, if we're just sticking purely to the numbers that I've mentioned in this video, then 5,000 will be perfectly fine. Step 3 is training. If you don't train, you'll just become a smaller version of yourself without definition. So people think that by being in a calorie deficit, they will get the definition that they see that a lot of people have. But the truth is, the people that you see, they're not just in a calorie deficit, they are also training, so they don't also melt away muscle. So to avoid becoming a skinny fat version of yourself, 3 to 4 times a week in the gym is necessary to maintain your muscle mass. So I'm going to give you a few examples, and we're going to be doing compound lifts, but here are some examples of the compound lifts that I'd recommend. We have some lower body ones here: squats, deadlifts, lunges. You can obviously pause the video here and have a look. Upper body, bench press, overhead press, pull-ups, rows, dips. These things, they're great, and I'll get onto why in a second, but very quickly, they are, they target multiple muscle groups. They save a lot of time, and they're really, really good and efficient for people who are just starting out, okay? Because you get a bunch of muscle groups done in one exercise, and you don't have to be in the gym for hours and hours on end. So I kind of already touched on this, but why compound lifts? So they save time. So by targeting multiple muscle groups, you can do less exercises and still have targeted multiple muscles. So you don't have to do 3 to 4 isolation exercises for every single muscle, and you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck as a beginner. Okay, so you don't need to be doing isolation exercises as a beginner. It's going to take way too much time. You're going to need to have a potentially 5 or 6 day per week routine in order to hit every single muscle group. So this is not the best way to go about it. Instead, compound lifts are the way. Step 4, and it may seem like you're optimizing the small things here, but it's really important that you do these things almost, if not just as important as the previous things that I've talked about today. So 8 to 9 hours of sleep, de-stress, especially if you have high background cortisol levels, or you just have an elevated level of cortisol, your body will store fat. So you need to make sure you de-stress. And something which actually plays into both of these points is a basic supplement stack, not only to de-stress and make sure you get good quality sleep with things like magnesium, but also just to make sure that you're getting the most out of your workouts. That's it.